Welcome, everyone, to the Women in Life Science panel discussion. The West Coast chapter of the PDA is proud to present this event for the 5th year, and we look forward to the day that we can meet in person again. We would like to acknowledge all our sponsors, our board, the panelists tonight, as well as our moderator, and all of you, the attendees, who truly made this event successful.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I should also say good evening because we have people joining from East Coast to West Coast. We thank you for joining us today for what I'm very sure will be a very lively conversation on inspirational leadership, how these great women that we have today as panelists have achieved success and what they have learned along the way. So let's jump right into it. I wanted to start with a particular question, which to me it has to do with how these women have been able to overcome the challenges that they have faced in their careers. And I really want to ask this question to all of them. My first question is, what have you done during your career that most pushed you out of your comfort zone? What did you learn from that experience?
Thank you, Carolina. For me, I think what pushed me most out of my comfort zone was going from private practice as an attorney to in-house counsel for Genentech and serving in a very much a broader capacity, from just environmental health and safety and real estate law to more of a general practitioner for a company where I was handling a lot of different issues. And then from Genentech to BioMarin, where I support the technical operations team, it became even broader. And I think what it's taught me is that you're always learning and that you always have a capacity for growth and change, and that you should embrace it when given that opportunity and don't shy away from it.
Thank you so much, Tara. Valerie, you have done a lot of projects with responsibility across the globe.
Great. All right. Thank you, Carolina. When I think about what's pushed me out of my comfort zone is I started out as a laboratory person, and I love the lab and ended up in quality totally by accident. I was asked to be a scribe for an inspection, and the host of the inspection became ill, and the head of the department says to me, well, now you're the host of the inspection. I was 22 years old at the time, and I was scared to death. What it taught me is that you have to just face your fears and sort of get out there. I really became much more engaged with quality, and then understanding that quality really needs to have a voice at the table, that, we're not that necessary evil that some people think we are from a manufacturing standpoint. So what it's taught me is that, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Being on panels like this, or being able to just speak to people in different forums, certainly hosting regulatory inspections is not the greatest thing, but the reward at the end is significant.
That really spoke to me, and I'm pretty sure it spoke to a lot of people in the audience that work in quality roles. Ghada, why don't you share with us your experience and with the audience?
For me, I think my experience is a little bit different because I came as a young student from Lebanon. The way I approach things is that if somebody offers me an opportunity, whether it's a small opportunity or not, and I can't do it, I know I can't do it, I always said yes. And this is how I learned. And I took these opportunities and I learned how to do it. I was not shy about saying I don't know. I was very open, and I would say I don't know, but I will learn. And I think that was a really good strategy on my part to overcome the challenges or of me being perhaps a foreigner and learning the industry and stepping out of my comfort zone first with language, and then as well in the workplace where I also did not have friends socially, so my Genentech family became my friends as well. So it was a very rewarding experience for me to have that.
Thank you, Ghada. Why don't we go to Lucy?
From my side, one of the very interesting things that happened to me was signing up for something I didn't want to do. And it was taking on more responsibility, a bigger leadership role with more teams, more groups. And at first I thought about, well, I should consider saying no, which would have been an option. But I decided, okay, I'll just take the risk and see what happens, how well I will do and how my boss will be satisfied with what I was doing. So it was very interesting. At first, it took a lot to overcome the large. I went from 10 people to 50, and that was very challenging at first, but it was extremely rewarding, and I was very happy I ended up taking the risk, which at the time did not sound like I should be doing. It did have a little bit of an effect on my work-life balance, but I was able to recover as things became much better after.
Thank you so much, Lucy. And last but not least, Diane.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to echo with all the panelists how much I also appreciate joining in this evening, and really want to thank PDA for this premier event. So for me, for sure, it has been those opportunities to take risks and do kind of what I would just say are those wild things that you would just never imagine. And I think sometimes for me, those opportunities came almost as the tap on the shoulder, right? And, so you were, kind of suggested maybe a role or a project or a job that you thought, there's no way I'm qualified for this. Why would I do it? And the shining example for me was taking a tour of jury duty outside of the quality and compliance area over to IT. And I think what I learned from that is what was important wasn't at all what I thought it was, right? Because I was just doubting. I didn't have IT technical expertise. How could I do this role? But what you find out is that you have a really solid foundation that can spread and span into new areas. And so it's really growth. And I would say the other thing that I learned from that is when people do approach you with those opportunities and you get those taps on the shoulders, even though if in your gut you don't feel it's right, trust that these people are typically people that you really admire and they're seeing something in you. And so trust their instincts as well and take the risk. Absolutely take the risk.